Hello, Zimbabweans. Thank you for, for this important time. I hope I find you well wherever you are. Yeah, the situation in our country, Zimbabwe, is still quite challenging, and as a nation, we seem not to be moving forward. And that's why, for the past 12 months, I've been trying very well, very hard to educate people about the importance of avoiding the harmonized election that we held a few months ago. Now we can actually now see that the nation cannot move forward because as a nation we are now more divided than we were before these elections, and as a result. We can talk in terms of the ruling party, its adamantly, and also the opposition leadership, that it is also adamant. And the situation is that when politicians fight, it's usually that they are fighting for control and power rather than actually what we think that they are fighting for. It's not necessarily about you and me, but it is necessarily about them. So we must not be carried away by what is happening now. Because if we are carried away, we will see that after 5 years, we will still be on the same point that we were for the past 10 years or so, or maybe things might have deteriorated from where we are. So we must be vigilant, and we must know what we want, and we must start working with the appointments that were made in our constitutions. We have MPs, we have councillors. We need to put those people on task so that they do, or so that they deliver what they promised us. We must, move away from this trend of politicking. I was recently looking at the cholera outbreak in Glenview, and I was actually seeing that the whole purpose of, it was all about politicking and trying to gain advantage over this one, for political mileage, which is very dangerous for our nation. We don't need that. We don't need to expose our nation to the international community to the extent that our people are seen as an uncivilized people. You go outside there, some people look at us and think that we are kind of maybe animals, or that they think that our nation is so pathetic to the extent that we are like in a rural setting, even though we know that we are a nation which has better infrastructure, even though we might talk that the infrastructure level might be a bit deteriorating, but we must not reach a level whereby we expose ourselves to the extent that the white man who is in Europe might end up fearing visiting Zimbabwe as if it is some kind of a monster. The level of blindness and politicking that is now, being driven by some political agendas is very, very serious, and it will have adverse effects in future, no matter who comes in power in future, because once a certain perception is held by a certain people about you, it is also very difficult in future to turn around those tables. So we must be careful about what we pass on social media, what we talk about on social media, because it will also adversely affect us in terms how the nation might try to relate us in terms of tourism. If a nation fails to have intelligence of how it is supposed to handle information, then you might also find ourselves in a very difficult position. We must be vigilant. We must show that we think we are not animals. We are not people who are uncivilized. Zimbabwe is a nation with a very high literacy rate. We can actually compete with European countries, but we must be careful about what we say on social media. We can't just say that wherever we go, we'll be holding a phone just to take the most nasty position of our society. In America, you can go there. There are also quite great challenges that are facing those nations. But if we are so blind that whatever uncivilized or good condition that we might meet, and we use our phone to expose ourselves, and we start sending those pictures, it shows that somewhere here, some people have a big problem. People go around taking people who are naked. Some are busy hiding in bushes looking for people who are doing this and that. That level of thinking is unwanted. We should not condone such kind of things. We must assure ourselves that we think. We use this thing called the brain. We must be vigilant about that. I won't go any further. This is Pepekai Pekere, and the Scribe. You know me as the Scribe. I will keep on writing articles, trying to educate people of the importance of civilization and the importance of using this thing that is called the mind to our good. You should know what you should say to foreigners. You should not appear to other people as if you are so myopic. You are so poor, even though things are a bit better. There is one thing that we should know as Zimbabweans is that there is no nation that can eliminate poverty totally. It takes you and me to work hard so that we move ourselves from the dungeon of doom. It takes the step that you initiate, that I initiate, to change the status of our economy, to change the status of our living. That's the prerogative of you and me. We are the ones who are the drivers to such things. I won't say much, but I am trying to conscientize you about the importance of moving forward as a nation, and that we should be careful about what we send out there to other people. We are a people. We know what we want. Instead of wasting time just sending those clips of the bad side of our story, why not concentrate our time on trying to build a strong foundation of what we want, talking about how Zimbabweans are willing to change the status quo of their nation economically. Many nations that are out there, you talk of Malaysia, Indonesia, you talk of South Korea, those countries, they invented their own means of how they might change the status quo of their nation economically. So I'm saying to you, be responsible. I want to be responsible. So can you. Let's work hard and change the status of our nation. This is Pepekai Begire. I'm always here to conscientize you about what is good, and I am the Scribe. My task is to investigate and to educate you about what is good. Thank you. Peace and blessings.